Welcome to 9to5Mac Watch Time, a podcast series exploring the world of Apple Watch and how it impacts people's lives. My next guest for Season 3 of 9to5Mac Watch Time is none other than 9to5Mac's Jeff Benjamin. Jeff, how are you today?
I am doing lovely. How are you doing, Zach?
Fantastic. We were just chatting before we started recording, and for me, I'm totally kind of getting back on the horse in terms of podcasting, and we've been doing the weekly thing with Happy Hour, but for Watch Time, it's been quite a hiatus. And for this run, what I think what we got planned out is 10 episodes to get us through the new year, and then we'll put it back on the shelf. But for now, we've got the next few months to look forward to. And I was so happy that you agreed to be my first guest for Season 3, Jeff, because somehow we haven't done this before in this time.
Well, it's only up from here, Zach, so that's the good thing. It can only go up from here.
I appreciate that. So, Jeff, you are 9to5Mac's YouTube lead, and I would say, like, in just all, in matter of factly, you're like the reviews editor, because if there's a new product that comes from Apple, like a flagship product, someone on the team will probably have something to say about it, but you're going to have like the definitive review that people can expect to see. So that's kind of, fit into your role as video editor. But kind of talk about what you do at 9to5Mac and how it came to be.
So yeah, like you said, I do YouTube videos. That's like my bread and butter. I like reviewing new products. I actually started back, it's been 2009, I think I got into doing reviews and things like that for iDownload blog, doing videos. Please don't go back and look at some of those early videos because they're horrible. But yeah, just doing that. I'm just being interested in it because back then, video reviews, it was sort of a new concept, I guess, or it was still in its infancy. Nowadays, you have like major productions that go on, and it's crazy how it's grown so much. But back then it was very like I just had a point and shoot camera, and it was very simple and just not a lot of excess to it. So but it's grown a lot, and here at 9to5Mac, like you said, doing reviews of all the latest products, tutorials, pretty much anything that think that people will enjoy. Excuse me, I'm fighting a cold right now.
Sure,
think that people enjoy watching and explaining. I just love explaining things, how things work, and guiding people through, things that appear complex, but breaking it down to make it simple for them to be able to get through. So that's sort of my thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you're natural, you're gifted, and you're talented, and your voice, I think everyone will recognize. And it's so like calming and peaceful and everything. So it's a perfect fit for something that can be complex and complicated to break it down and make it more human. So, we love you for that.
I appreciate it, man. I really do. It's fun. It's just fun getting the feedback and helping people. I think that's like the main thing I get out of it. Like when I just get an email, someone explaining, I tried this and this and this, and then I finally got to your tutorial or whatever, and it really helped me. That's like the ultimate in satisfaction for this. So.
Yeah, and we've been there before. I mean, me and you, I'm sure, where we're stuck on something and we're looking at like different guides and resources, and we're like, well, this one didn't do it, and you land on one finally, and it's like not only was it correct, but there was a person behind it, and it was very comforting and everything. So yeah, totally. I personally, I kind of empowered by that feedback too, where I don't like reading comments, on like articles and stuff, but I read Twitter and I read email, and sometimes someone will flag like a comment to me, and I'm like, oh, that was actually positive. But it's that like negative general stuff that I'm looking to avoid, but that positive specific stuff that I kind of live for. And we wouldn't have that without our audiences. So it's terrific.
Right. Yeah. I think it's very important. Like if you're doing YouTube or any sort of thing where you're like putting yourself out there and you're kind of exposed, you're taking a risk, so to speak. And when you get that negative feedback, it does sting. But so just trying to minimize your exposure to that is important to your mental health and everything just going forward, and maintaining that happiness while doing your job is very important.
Yeah, that's right. And I've been dabbling with space stuff over the past, few months and everything. And the audience for that is a different audience in a lot of ways. And there's some crossover, but the sizes between 9to5Mac and what I'm doing with Space Explored is very different. In that you can have like 10 people who are very engaged with the space stuff, and that means the world to me, versus having, hundreds of thousands of people with 9to5Mac stuff.
Right.
And it's like, all it takes is one person to care. And so like, anyone listening, when you've got some positive feeling or something specific that you want to express, reach out and do it, because you really can't measure the value in that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I always try to respond. I know some people are probably going to think, no, you didn't reply to my email, but I try very hard to respond to as many emails as possible, especially, constructive criticism or positive feedback. I always try to respond to that. So that's good.
Yeah. When did you join 9to5? Because I got in my notes, it was CES 1945. That's how long ago it feels, when I was talking with Seth Weintraub, our publisher at 9to5Mac, and he was like, I'm looking at Jeff over at IDB. And I'm like, cool, let's do it, It's like, but I think that was like we were probably talking around 2013 or 14.
I think it was 14. Or was it 14? Maybe it was 15. I can't remember, man. Yeah. Or 16 maybe. It's just it's flown past so quickly. It's like I can't keep up. But
yeah, there was that period where like you were Jeff from IDB at 9to5Mac, and people were like, they introduced in the video, would throw him off. And now I think it's been long enough that Jeff from 9to5Mac is what it is.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I still get the comment like, "Oh, there you are, Jeff." It's only been like 5 years or so, but it's hilarious. Yeah. But yeah, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm curious, because we haven't really talked about this before, me and you, but something I realize is that, writing is one thing, reporting is one thing, managing social media, these are all like different things that people can be experts at, and we kind of do all those things together. We do podcasting. Photography can be its own thing. Videography is definitely its own thing. And with the space stuff, we've been going to rocket launches for that. And my photographers are like, we are not video people. Those don't necessarily translate automatically. And so I'm curious, kind of, how do you get into video production prior to 9to5Mac and prior to IDB? And kind of also, can you kind of characterize like the difference in those skill sets between photography and videography?
Oh, good question. It really was. I don't know. I mean, it's just like one day I was like, "Hey, I think this tutorial would look or be a lot better or be more effective if I actually showed them how this is done instead of just writing the steps."
It's like when I'm on the phone with my aunt doing tech support. I'm like, let me just wait till I come visit. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, man, I'm writing all this information out. This would be so much easier if I just showed them. So I literally just picked up an old Canon camera. Actually, it was a gift to my wife, and she still kind of jabs me about that. So I took her camera and I just made a tutorial, and people really liked it. They were like, "Oh, this is so helpful." So from there, I don't know. I watching other like videography tutorials, just learning the ins and outs of, all the basics of photography in some way translate over to videography. Like having the fundamentals of a photographer and like knowing about lighting and knowing about, exposure and things like that translates right over to videography a lot of times. They are still two very different disciplines, but I think if you have a background in either one, you can make it work in the other.
So you're working with the same vocabulary in terms of, aperture and ISO and shutter speed, all this stuff.
Yeah, a lot of times you're working with the same thing. So it is a different skill set, but if you are like someone who takes photos, just dabble with it. That's my biggest advice. Just experiment and see what you can make. And don't be too hard on yourself either. And vice versa. If you do videos, experiment with taking photos.
Yeah, and you've done some cool things where you do like screen grabs from your videos, and I know for 9to5Mac you create these really cool libraries of just imagery that we can use. And it's, do you do both? Do you like photography and you do, screen grabs, or is it kind of how do you do that?
I'd say the majority are just going to be screen grabs from my videos. So I'll just use Final Cut. I'll set up
awesome
on it
for the internet. I mean,
yeah, exactly. So I just export directly from the timeline. I'll scrub the timeline, find an exact spot on that video where I can export that image, and it hopefully it looks okay. But then other times, especially when like composing thumbnails, I think it's important to really start from scratch and really compose something that is specifically designed with the thumbnail in mind. Or if it's a really like a hero image, you want to sit back and compose that shot, make sure everything's in the right place, make sure your lighting's okay, because oftentimes the video just doesn't translate the way that you would want that to be. So
yeah, so with photography, you might take like 10 pictures and one turns out the way you envisioned. And I guess with grabbing a screen grab, the video looks amazing. You're kind of relying on luck to get that one shot that's as good as you envision it to be for the hero image. So you got better odds if you're doing just a still shot for the hero image, huh?
Right. Yeah. Having that still shot, being able to just compose it, with the image, does have some major advantages, but the time aspect of just exporting from the video is so nice. So I use that often.
Yeah. This is probably the last Limited Space stuff in this episode, but there's a space photographer on the Space Coast named Michael Kane, and he did a shot on iPhone picture of a rocket launch, which is hard to do when you leave your camera at the launch pad. And because for a traditional camera, you have a remote trigger, whether it's sound or time. Or brightness, and with an iPhone, you really can't do that and manage battery life in the right way. So what he did was he had like a cooling system with a fan, like a USB fan, and batteries, and he left his phone to record video and like film it or something. And then he took a screen grab from the video, like one thing that looks decent, and it's like, that's the rocket launch shot, And
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. This week, 9to5Mac Watch Time is sponsored by Pillow. Getting a good night's sleep is underrated, but with a little help, it can be life-changing. Pillow is an all-in-one sleep tracking solution to help you be more aware of your sleep patterns and discover what might be affecting your sleep quality. If you have an Apple Watch, tracking your sleep is as easy as wearing your Apple Watch during sleep. Pillow will track and analyze your sleep automatically. One of Pillow's most loved features is the ability to get a detailed heart rate diagram of every sleep session. You can even compare your sleep quality with your weight, steps, caffeine consumption, and many more health metrics to discover how they might be affecting your sleep. Pillow can optionally record sounds you make during sleep, from sleep talking to sleep apnea and snoring, or unexpected noises that might be affecting your sleep. A lot of users have been surprised by these results. Pillow is also very privacy-minded. All of your sleep and audio data is encrypted and stored on your device and in your iCloud storage account using end-to-end encryption. Pillow does not have user accounts, so you can use it anonymously, and it does not collect or send your personal data anywhere else. And naps can boost your focus, creativity, and overall well-being. So if you're working from home, you can also track naps using Pillow's Power Nap mode. If you need an alarm, Pillow can wake you up using your iPhone, Apple Watch, or iPad. And if you have WatchOS 6 or later installed on your Apple Watch, the latest update to Pillow uses the new extended runtime feature to minimize battery consumption on the Apple Watch. Pillow is available on the App Store for the iPhone, Apple Watch, and iPad. Discover all of Pillow's features at neighbox.com/pillow. That's neybox.com/pillow. Sleep well and stay safe. Our thanks to Pillow for their support of 9to5Mac Watch Time.
That's really cool. That's the thing I love about, taking images and videos. It's like there's so many different ways to do things. There's no 100% right way.
Yeah.
Like there's always some way you can come up with an innovative approach to pull off the shot. I mean, most of the stuff I use, someone would come in here and think this is a very elementary setup, and they would be right. Like it's pretty basic, and I use some very basic tools to get my job done. I don't have a lot of fancy camera equipment necessarily. For instance, just to do like pan shots, I'll just use a rubber band on the end of my tripod, and on the tripod head, I'll just use that to pull a pan shot. So just basic stuff like that I've learned and picked up over the years off of YouTube or other sources.
Yeah, well, that's cool. One thing that impresses me is that, so like I can take pictures, I can do home video, but it's always like I'll get way too ambitious and I'll think I'm gonna do like a product video, and when the nature of filming a screen is just very difficult for me. And you've done this in different environments, whether it's an iPhone screen, which I guess is easier than like say like a CarPlay screen where the environment is
right
less in your control. So
that's funny you mentioned that, because the last time I did, like, I love doing CarPlay coverage, but it's very challenging because obviously you're outside, you have to control light. And the last time, I just remember me taking garbage bags, trash bags, and taping them all to my windows just to black out all the light. So that was an interesting experience.
That's something. And then we'll get into the watch stuff in just a moment. But you've done, I think for the first generation watch, you weren't with us yet. Maybe for this, I'm thinking for the series 1 and 2, you were though. And so you've had a watch review for each one. What is capturing the watch on video like for you? It's a different beast than the phone.
It is. It's a very like my arm gets an extreme workout because you literally just have to hold at least the way I do it. I guess I could go a different approach, but like holding my arm for like hours, just because I have like an overhead camera set up, and I like to have a top down look at the watch, and it is it's stressful, man. It's like I need someone to like hold my arm for me.
Right.
But, yeah.
Yeah. The first time I did like even just like taking pictures of the watch, for the first generation watch review, I had my wife model it. It's like you just stay, and it was mostly like because like my arm is hairy. It just wasn't as like attractive to see on the big one in a picture. But it also doubles in that whole. It's the whole thing. Like the watch is meant to be fast and interactive, and you put your arm down so you don't strain.
Right.
And that all goes out the window when you go to record it, or like even just shoot it. Grab
yeah.
Of it, so. Awesome. All right. For some watch stuff this week, I want to do some things where we have an Apple event for September the 15th, I believe. The tagline is "Time Flies," and it's the September fall event. Usually that means an iPhone and an Apple Watch. This year we expect it to mean an Apple Watch, an iPad, and then October will be iPhones, just based on how different this year has been. But so that probably means that we've got a new Apple Watch on the way. And I think some of the rumors are even that there's like 2 new watches to replace the Series 3 in the lineup and the Series 5. So we could assume Series 6 is a name, Series 3S, I don't know what we'll do there. But and we're so close now that by the time a lot of people listen to this, it'll probably be announced in news. So there's not much value in speculating. But what I did want to do with you, Jeff, is sort of, we've both spent time with Series 3 and 5 Apple Watches. And so to kind of do like an exit interview of like, how has it been now that this thing, both models are maybe on their way out? I guess starting with Series 3, because that was, for me, an interesting one where it was a flagship watch for a whole year. And then it was kind of the entry-level watch. And then it was really the entry-level watch in its third year. And it's kind of lasted, all 2 or 3 of those years as being pretty good. What's your take on Series 3 from kind of start to finish now?
I mean, obviously at the beginning it was a pretty awesome watch. I still use it actually when working out.
Me too.
Yeah, because it's small, and I don't have to worry about like getting my Series 5 all like sweaty and everything like that. I like using the Series 5 just around the house and just day to day wearing it. But the Series 3 is sort of the workhorse. Was that the first one with cellular?
It was, yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's coming back to me now. Yeah, so, and that was a huge deal. Being able to leave your phone in the car and go have like lunch or dinner, and not worry about missing calls and not have the distraction of the phone with you was huge. And I think that's an underrated facet of the Apple Watch in general, just the fact that it allows you to sort of untether in some respects from your phone. So you're not always looking at it. You're confident knowing that you're not going to miss anything, but you stay focused on the person in front of you.
Yeah, if you can master, if you get really comfortable using Siri on the watch, or even always having like Bluetooth headphones with you so that you can have a really natural experience, then having the watch with cellular, if your phone isn't with you, or you go and take a quick break from it, you never miss a beat, and you stay as in touch as ever. It's really, really wonderful.
Yeah, and I think it's a fantastic deal at $200. Even if you're not getting the cellular version, obviously $200 for an Apple Watch, you have that in a pair of AirPods. That's like the perfect combination. I think it's just a great combination. That Series 3.
Yeah, and so the Series 3, that was the first with cellular. It would be great if at some point we get to a time where all watches have cellular and it's not an option, because I guess with Series 1 and 2, you had basically the same chip processor, speed-wise, but you had the choice of, do you want GPS or not? And that was kind of the difference in Series 1 and 2, and some swim tracking stuff too, but it was mostly that GPS, and then you got GPS in all watches thereafter. It would be neat if we could get to a point where, like phones, all watches have cellular, and it's just the option of, do you want to pay for the service this month or not, versus do you want to make that investment when you purchase the watch or not, because I think that's a big opportunity that affects how the watch, just kind of like an iPad. I mean, iPads with cellular are just way better than without.
Way better.
Yeah. It changes how you can use them.
Yeah, I agree. Just not having to think, like, just for instance, just going out for a jog or mowing the lawn or whatever the case may be, knowing you're not going to miss a beat is huge.
Yeah, and there's it's pretty good now where you can sync music and have it reliably be there, but it's so neat having just your full, like, the full catalog of Apple Music at your request, as you're on the go. Same with podcasts, same with phone calls and messaging and everything. So Series 3, I mean, it's kind of neat that that's been the watch that stuck around for so long, because it was a big deal. And it also serves, and it was the last of that design before the Series 4 came about, and so it's also kind of made the Series 4 and 5 look more modern, just because it is the older design. So
right, exactly, yeah.
Series 5, for me, this has been a weird one, because early on it had like battery life issues where it wasn't as good as Series 4 was, and they added the always on display, so that was a big benefit. But even turning it off, it was like, I'm getting worse battery life than my Series 4. They didn't really ever acknowledge it, but they did resolve it in my experience several weeks after release. Since then, I haven't really thought about battery life in the same way, as the first few weeks, and it's just, this is now what the watch can do. But it's so similar to Series 4, except for the always on display, that as impressive as Series 4 is, and Series 5, moving the ball forward with the display, it kind of leaves me curious about what are the next few things the watch is going to be able to do. This week, 9to5Mac Watch Time is sponsored by Flexibits, the makers of the excellent Fantastical calendar app and Card Hop Context Manager. Fantastical Premium launched earlier this year, and it's a major upgrade to their Apple Design Award-winning calendar and task app. A subscription for about $3 a month includes Mac, iPhone, iPad, and Apple Watch apps, and everything syncs reliably between all devices. And because Flexibits cares about the Apple Watch, Fantastical Premium for WatchOS syncs and works even when your Apple Watch is away from your phone, over Wi-Fi or LTE. It's really wonderful. Flexibits has also tuned Fantastical to remote work routines with automatic conference call detection and timed calendar sets, so you can see the right appointments in the right context, which is great for striking the right work-from-home life balance. I've been using Fantastical for years, and Fantastical Premium is a must-have for keeping your life in order, and the Apple Watch app is best in its class. 9to5Mac Watch Time listeners can enjoy a special offer too, 20% off monthly or annual plans for a limited time. You either get 20% off a single month, so there's no commitment, or 20% off an entire year, which is by far the best deal, and that's almost half off the standard monthly price. This offer will only be available for a limited time, so you should go and start your 14-day free trial right now. Just go to flexibits.com/watchtime. That's Flexibits, FLEXIBITS.com/watchtime, WATCHTIME. Again, there's a 14-day free trial, so sign up, try it out, and then use our special link in the show notes to get 20% off. Our thanks to Flexibits and Fantastical Premium for sponsoring 9to5Mac Watch Time.
Right, yeah. That battery issue is so funny you mentioned that, because that was such a bad experience when you first got the Series 5. I mean, it was horrible. And there were so many complaints about it. But now, like you mentioned, I don't even think about battery life at all. And they definitely resolved it. So, yeah, I'm in the same boat. I don't know what I would even want from a Series 6. Like, what is it what possibly more could they do non-fitness wise to make it a better watch? I don't know if I can really find something.
Yeah, I think part of the issue this year is that the Series 5 hardware has kind of advanced past the software, and that there's still things that that we'd want to see them do in the WatchOS software, like have more than just the workout app be an always on mode app, have something for maps and now playing and other first party apps and then later on third party apps. So right now it's pretty limited. I'd love to have an analog version of the always on watch face, like whenever you're in an app and then you lower your wrist, it goes to the digital watch face.
Right.
I'd love that to be analog if you're using an analog watch face as your watch face, have that intelligence. And right now we don't have that. So I think that's a lot of it for me. Hardware wise, like, we'll see what happens if and when a Series 6 is announced this month. Because I went with the ceramic edition Series 5, I probably will want to use that for a long time, because the Series 6 will need to be better than the Series 5 by a lot, plus the material difference. And I really value the material of the Series 5. So that might be the first watch that I stick with for longer than just the year. But it's also a watch I never reviewed. And I'm so glad that you got to review it, because my sort of, I didn't do like a here's my review. It was like, I can't review this because of the battery stuff,
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe a year out now I'll have something more to say on it, in the future. But I've been happy with it once we got past that. But it was just so frustrating for those like 6 weeks where it's like, bought this with my own money and it doesn't live get through the day.
Yeah, it makes me wonder. Like, it really does make me wonder, what is this new watch's claim to fame going to be? I know there's some, with the blood measuring or blood glucose.
Blood oxygen.
Yeah. I know there's that, but here's the thing, like with Force Touch basically going away in WatchOS 7, are we going to see a thinner Series 6 because of that? Or we're going to see the same form factor? That's what we've been hearing, same form factor and maybe a slightly larger battery inside.
Which would be welcome after last year. I mean, that would be like a direct response to kind of experiences from last year.
Right.
That's a good point, because in WatchOS 7 beta, there's, even if it's just by usability design, the whole layer of there's an invisible user interface here. You have to press into the screen to access it. That's gone now. There's a button for everything, where before there was kind of a long press or a force press gesture to unveil it. In some ways it can be slower, but as I've used the beta over the summer, I've gotten used to it and I don't think about it anymore. And actually you never have to force touch your screen anymore because it doesn't do anything. So that's kind of a user improvement, I think. But that's a good point, is how will that translate to the new watch hardware? I have just my kind of take on sleep tracking in WatchOS 7 beta with Series 5 and earlier is that it's so basic that I'm wondering if there's something more advanced that they're saving for a Series 6 with a different chip, because the processor in the Series 4 and 5 are basically the same. They just have a different display controller for the always on display, and some different stuff with antennas for international calling. But it could be a year where the watch is it's at least year over year it's a pretty good improvement. But it's just so quiet, we don't know yet.
How do you enjoy the sleep tracking? What's your take on it?
So I've been sleep tracking for a long time with a second Apple Watch, because I've never been one to be able to manage charging during the day and enjoying using the watch. That's too frustrating for me. But with the second watch, whether it's an old Series 3 or earlier, I've been able to enjoy it using different apps. And with Apple's stuff in WatchOS 7, I kind of like the stuff that's on the phone more than what's on the watch, where you've got like a wind down mode, automatic D&D for do not disturb, and you get that nice wake up message in the morning. It's all stuff that's kind of been there in pieces, and they've just tied it together neater this year with iOS 14. In WatchOS 7, I like that you can designate a watch to sleep track or not. So you can say this one, look for it, and this one don't look for it, because if you don't want to use it, then you've got confidence that you're not wasting any resources on it. For what you do get, it's pretty zoomed out in that you're not going to get like granular hour by hour or day to day data, but it's like your weekly averages and stuff like that, and that's pretty good. But you are going to get more detail in third-party apps, and I just can't help but wonder if Apple's going to do something with different hardware in the future. Whether it's Series 6 or 7 or beyond, and they have a better, a more robust sleep tracking system, because they bought Bedit, that hardware sleep tracker for your mattress, and this doesn't replace that or come close, in my opinion. So is that their end game, to seriously continue to sell a mattress, sleep tracker and the watch, or can it all be in one? And when you look at the price of the Bedit, it's like about the price of a Series 3. So
right, yeah. I would see. I mean, it seems more Apple-like to have that all embedded in just the one device.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing with sleep tracking, with like a physical thing in your mattress is, that's fine if you sleep there every night, but if you don't, then that's out the window.
Right.
And for me, like, the kids would come and jump in bed and like ruin it. So it's just, I had very little value in that thing. But with the watch, it's like, it's always going to be with me, and when I travel and everything. So, and silent alarms are amazing, where you have your alarm set and it just taps you to wait.
Yeah, I love that. So does my wife.
Yeah, I bet, exactly. Especially for those like early, like wake up in the middle of the night to do something for work things. So.
Right. Yeah,
nice. All right, I want to wrap up in just a moment, but I do want to plug a few more things. So we've got a new sister site with 9to5Mac called Connect the Watts, which is all about connected fitness, from Peloton to things that like Nordic Track is doing, to different companies, where it's anything physical exercise activity, getting in a workout, but there's some smart aspect to it. And Bradley Chambers, who joined 9to5Mac a few years ago, is kind of leading that effort. So check out connectthewatts.com. I think that if you like this podcast, you will like what you see there. Also in my notes, we had Peloton rumors, but now Peloton is now an announcement that there's the Peloton Bike Plus, which is the first Peloton with gym kit, so that you sync your watch with it, and it uses your watch as the heart rate sensor on the bike, and the bike knows your speed and everything, and that goes back to the watch, and that's so cool. It's like the first consumer level. Like before, gym kit was like $10,000 and up, because it was for at a gym, equipment, commercial equipment, and now it's for at home stuff. That's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of my biggest complaints about the Peloton bike, is the fact that you had an Apple Watch, you use that for all your fitness, but then you have to strap this other heart rate sensor to your wrist. It's like, it just seemed redundant, and it basically made it so I did not want to use a heart rate sensor.
Right.
Pretty much. Yeah. So this is an awesome upgrade, and with some of the other upgrades with the Bike Plus, it's definitely looking like a big improvement over the original.
Yeah, they changed the screen to where it now comes out, and you can kind of it's much easier to use that instead of like a TV or something, or a tablet for your like other kind of workouts and exercises.
Yeah.
And then it can now adjust the resistance on the bike automatically based on the class that you're in, which is, that is so welcome. I'm extremely excited about that. I have to say I did order one. Of course you did. Yeah.
A Bike Plus.
They're great. It's a great product. Now they've renamed their treadmill, which I've reviewed before, and the only thing I missed was Gym Kit. To Tread Plus, because it's the really premium one, like over $4,000. I wish I would have got to keep that, but I didn't. But no gym kit, because it's just a new name, not new hardware. And they have a new treadmill coming early next year. I think in the UK it's the end of this year, but it doesn't have gym kit, and it's in that same price as the Bike Plus. So I'm not sure why they didn't do that. And I hope that because there's still time that they reconsider that, because otherwise I'm not that interested.
Yeah.
They have a really good treadmill system where you like roll knobs to adjust incline and speed. And it's really natural, because it's like knobs are great for ergonomics, and when you're running, you want ergonomics. But without gym kit, it's like, okay, just put a tablet on another treadmill, I guess, for that price. But yeah, hopefully we'll get to have some experience with those things later this year and early next year.
Yeah, at this rate, it's looking like early next year. The shipping is like way back ordered.
Is that right? So you ordered your Bike Plus, and do you have a date for it yet, or no?
I don't have a date, but I've been just reading around, and some people are saying, I think it said 6 to 7 weeks.
Okay.
But yeah, no firm date yet.
Someone messaged me and said that they have one coming on Tuesday, but I wonder if
really?
Yeah, I have to double check with that and see. But I was thinking that's pretty quick, but we'll see. All right, that was a real pleasure, Jeff. Thank you for being here, and we will do this again. I'm positive.
Next time, hopefully, I won't have a cold.
I couldn't even tell, because clearly we have a lot more to say about how we use the watch and this Peloton stuff and gym kit stuff. I got to use gym kit a few weeks ago too on something unrelated. So once you've got some Bike Plus experience, then we will revisit that
for sure. Yeah, look for a video of that one for sure.
Awesome, totally. All right, see everybody later. Bye.